On episode 12, I talked about how recording for anime works. I went from the moment after CU passed their audition to getting their script and materials to rehearse, to what managers do as well as going to recordings. And it was an exercise in which you took the role of CU as I went through all that complex stuff that is part of the job. In this episode, I will be talking about other types of recording. Dubbing is a job that actually pays quite well, but few do it because you are handpicked. Games and narration are exactly the same. Difference is, these are lone work. Drama CDs fit right in the middle of both. By now you must have a guess how recording for these types of media works. However, I guide you through it in this episode. A note that some concepts and content might overlap with episode 12 because these types of recordings, in their essence, are similar with only some nuances sticking out. Let's kick off this episode of Seiyu Lounge. Welcome to Seiyu Lounge. I am your host, Vanessa, and today's topic is how does recording for dubbing, narration, games, and drama CDs work? I mentioned on episode 8 of Seiyu Lounge how much some jobs in the Seiyu industry pay. Among those, I mentioned dubbing, narration, and games pay the most. There are also jobs that do not require auditions, as Seiyu are generally handpicked by the producers or directors. In that episode, I didn't mention drama CDs specifically. Note that those are solid one-offs for Seiyu, earning them an extra bit of cash. They don't pay much, but in comparison with anime, they end up paying a bit better. For more on auditions, I invite you to check episode 9 when this episode is over. Also, same thing applies from anime work. Do not commit a faux pas. Basically, saying too much or saying against something that will be a topic or theme in your upcoming work. The last thing you want is to go back to the politics, favoritism, and abuse in the anime industry. So grab your chance in narration and dubbing as best as you can. Once again, let's pretend for purposes of this episode that you, the listener, are a Seiyu. You're C-ranked and live in Tokyo. Now let's go explore some technical stuff. Script. When it comes to the script, you will have access to it before the recording to add your notes, pauses, accents, or inflections to give more life to your role or narration session. The script counts with all the parts that you will be narrating or all the lines your character has in the game in case of dubbing for games. In case the game or foreign movie is being dubbed, you, the Seiyu, will have access to the translated version of the original script, and in some cases will come across the tough task of having to match your voice to the lips of those actors. It's not an easy task, but Seiyu most of the times manage to pull it off to perfection. Recording. How far ahead are recordings for dubbing, narration, games, and drama CDs done? For dubbing, it usually is a couple of months before the movie is set to be screened in theaters. Narration can be done a couple of months in advance or with some weeks of advance depending on the shows. For drama CDs, the recording is done a couple of months before its release. Dubbing for games is often done with a lot of time in advance. As some of you may be aware, game development takes years. Just look at how the upcoming Cyberpunk 2077 took almost 10 years in development and will only see the light of day this November. Somewhere down the line, in the middle of the game's development, the scripts are complete and revised, and it is time to flesh out the characters. That's when seiyuu are called. Just like narration, dubbing and drama CDs, there are no auditions for roles in games. You are handpicked by the production. You're handed the script and you will have multiple recording sessions across a period of time. Depending on the game scale and how much dialogue there is in the game, for example, RPGs are usually known for being dialogue heavy. Sometimes the script can occupy boxes and boxes with pages of script for your character alone. Since your voice needs to be fresh and not sound strained, sessions are around 4 to 5 hours maximum per day. This applies to both local and localized games. At the same time, it is common that recordings take place 1 or 2 years before game release, sometimes even earlier, much to the fact that the dialogue must be added into the game's code, checked for bugs, and play tested before its release. Quality control and debugging can take years as well. The recording process. Recording for narration and games is made in a small soundproof recording booth. There, the seiyuu has a chair, a table, professional-grade headphones, usually the Sony's MDR7506, a dynamic or condenser mic, and a small screen in which video, in case of narration, or scenes from the game, in case of games, will be displayed. For those doing narration, they also have controls to the sound levels on the headphones as well as over the episode playback. If you follow Junichi Suabe on Twitter, you'll often come across photos of his hand over a black plastic box with a red lever and some knobs. It's what I'm talking about in here. Dubbing and BL or manga adaptation drama CDs recordings are done in a similar way to anime. The main cast and sometimes the whole cast is in attendance, recording together their lines inside a spacious soundproof recording room. Yes, even during those steamy scenes in BL drama CDs. In case of dubbing, seiyuu have professional headphones to follow the audio in what they are dubbing and screens in front of the mics for them to follow along. In the screens in front of the seiyuu, the original episode or movie will be played. Dubbing is rather complicated because of timing and trying to match as much as possible the mouth movements with all the dialogue that a particular scene has. However, there are reports of movie dubs that took only a couple of days to complete instead of weeks, which would be more common due to how the directors want to avoid having the dub cast with strained voices. Pretty impressive, I must say. A note that retakes are common and sometimes recording sessions might take a lot longer than planned due to that. So you need to familiarize themselves with the speed as well as with those mouth movements to deliver a solid, almost seamless performance. Solo drama CDs, the ones that are commonly named situation CDs, are recorded alone. The seiyuu performs the whole drama CD while walking and standing around the inside of a soundproof recording studio. In the middle of the room there is a dummy head microphone. This is a binaural 3D microphone that creates a realistic performance. It is as if you are actually in the same place as the character the seiyuu is portraying. What is really tricky about the dummy head mic is that it is sensitive, but not to the point of catching your footsteps or the sort on tape. It has microphones in the ears and one in the front, and that's only with some proximity or good vocal projection by the seiyuu that you can actually listen well to the performance. On the floor you have numbers, lots of those, sometimes circling the microphone. Those give spatial cues for the seiyuu to know where to be for a certain line. Lines on the script will have indication of where the seiyuu must stand during the recording. Basically, recording for a solo drama CD using a dummy head mic is a well choreographed dance in which if a seiyuu fails one of the cues, you'll have to do the whole scene again. Among seiyuu, it is mentioned that Tarusuke Shingaki, Takuya Sato, Makoto Furukawa and Soma Saito have mastered working with a dummy head microphone. If by any chance the drama CD is a solo one, but there is no dummy head mic, then the recording is similar to narration and games. Usually the recording of the entire drama CD, regardless if it is a situation CD or a regular drama CD, is done in one session. But that comes with its risks, as some drama CDs are 1 or 2 hours long and can be quite vocally intense to record. In some cases, if the recordings take a long time or are too intense, seiyuu might risk injuries to their vocal cords or may even pass out. In the past, Wataru Hatano fainted during the recording of a BL drama CD. Turns out he has hypotension, something that he has been really careful about since then. And note that Hatano fainting was only triggered because he was breathing shallowly during the recording. Soma Saito feared the worst after the recording of a BL drama CD back in 2016. His tonsils inflamed as a result of the strain during the recording, so he went to the hospital to have those checked. It was a false alarm, but still something that could have turned into a career-ending injury, if pushed further, for example, with the recording taking longer to finish. Drama CDs that involve lots of running, shouting, and screaming can damage a seiyuu's vocal cords. Often seiyuu clear their schedules for drama CD recordings, as their voice will be insanely strained soon after and take quite a while to recover due to the intensity of the recording. Beware of noise. For all these types of recordings, you need to also pay attention to the fact that professional microphones are sensitive, so you must ditch any noisy clothing and shoes, as well as jewelry and accessories. Comfy clothes and, in case of dummy head mic drama CDs, no shoes at all works best. Who is present on the other side of the recording booth or studio? For drama CDs, usually there's the sound engineer and director, as well as the original creator or creators of the original manga that is being adapted to drama CD. For example, it was mentioned by the cast of Given in the cast talk track in one of the drama CDs that the sensei was in attendance. In fact, both Makoto Furukawa and Soma Saito interacted with the sensei from inside the room. In case it is an original solo drama CD and narration, only the sound team and director are present. For games, you may often find a representative from the game's company. In case of the Yakuza games, the creator, Toshihiro Nagoshi, as well as the scenario writer, Haze Seishu, end up being in attendance at times. A sound engineer and director are also present. In case of the game's localization, a representative of the game's company and its localization team are in the house alongside the director and sound team. In case of narration, you will find the director and their sound team. As you can see, recording for dubbing, narration, games and drama CD isn't that different from anime. However, there are some details that make each one pretty unique as an experience for seiyuu. I am a big fan of Japanese games, with the Yakuza franchise being my absolute favorite, and I have watched countless videos of the recording sessions as well as watched interviews with the cast in which they highlight the environment in the studio, and I always found it fascinating how it all works out. It is interesting that between dubbing, narration, games and drama CDs, there are only nuances setting them apart, but those are what makes each type of work refreshing for Seiyu to tackle. Drama CDs using dummy head microphones are on another level of skill. Many are the top Seiyu that have had their go at it, but they simply didn't sound well. With time and a lot of work in the field, quite some interesting names have risen as massive talents working with the intimidating microphone. Once again, I can't help but to admire Seiyu's talents. Narration is a classic all over the world and is pretty much done in the same way everywhere. Dubbing is an interesting thing. Here in Portugal, actors dub their characters solo and in a small booth. In Japan, they have the whole cast in attendance, which, in my opinion, is more effective. Now tell me, after all this talk about types of recording, what do you consider to be the most complex? Is your favorite Seiyu a good or even a specialist in any of these types of recordings? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this episode and don't want to miss the Hand That Feeds HQ's weekly Male Seiyu and music-related content, hit the subscribe button. I'll return next week with another episode of Seiyu Lounge. Thank you for listening and see you guys around.